Welcome to Shom HaShov on the Daf, Shir Sponsor, Lui Nishmat, Saram B'Yakov Shalom, Le'Abbas Yitzchok. We're holding in Avoda Zara, Daf Nun Zayin. And Amud Beis, the Gemara discusses the idea that a Tinuk ben Yoimoy, a child who does not know what he's doing, by him there's no din of Yeinam. And Tosis over here, the very long Tosis in the bottom of the page, discusses the fact that some Rishonim hold that today every guy has a din of Tinuk ben Yoimoy, because they don't really know what they're doing. They don't have an intention to do Yeinam and to be worshipping Avoda Zara. And that may allow the wine of a goy to be mutter. And this is a big discussion in the Rishonim. Interesting to point out that the Rambam, Hilchos Machos, Asuras Perek Aleph, he says that there's a difference between a Muslim and a Christian. The Rambam was censored, and the Girsa that we have today in the Rambam is that Kol Aku Sheino Oived Avodas Kachov Mazolos, any goy who's not worshipping Avoda Zara, Kegon Eilu HaYishmaelim, like the Arabs, like the Muslims, Yeinam Asur B'Shtiya Umutar B'Hanoya. You can't drink their wine, but you're allowed to enjoy the wine, you're allowed to sell it. V'chedu Kol HaGoynim, he quotes it in the name of all the goyim. Aval Oysam Oivdim Akum, but the goyim that do worship Avoda Zara, Stam Yeinam Asur B'Hanoya, the Stam Yain is also B'Hanoya. That's the gear so that we have the Rambam in front of us. But the original Girsa of the Rambam was that the end, what he said, when it comes to the friendship between the Muslims and the other goyim, he says, Aval ha-noitzrim, meaning the Christians, oiv de Avoda Zara hem. They're oiv de Avoda Zara, stam Yeinam osu b'hanoy, now enjoy stam Yeinam. So that's the sheet of the Rambam. The Rambam holds, not like Tosis Bayos. Tosis Bayos says that all goyim today have a din of Tinuk ben Yomer, they're not really worshiping Avoda Zara. The Rambam learns it depends which religion it is. If it's the Muslims, then they don't worship Avoda Zara. But if it's the Christians, they're considered to be Oiv de Avoda Zara. And the later Achronim explaining the Rambam learns that Chazal said any ummah, any nation that does Avoda Zara, even though there's some individuals, and maybe the majority of people don't really know what they're doing, they're still included in the Gzeira Derabanan of Stam Yeinam. But if we have a nation that are not worshiping Avoda Zara, so they're not included in the Gzeira, at least not for Isur Hana. Now the fact that the Muslims are considered to be a nation, a religion that doesn't worship Avoda Zara, that is a discussion among the Rishonim. The Rambam in his Chuvas and Maduras Mekitzin Yerdomim Siman Shin Samechtes has a Arichos that he wrote to a Ger. So there he discusses in length to say that the Muslims are not Oiv de Avoda Zara, and how he brings that they did worship Markulis and the Peor, and the fact that they throw stones in Mecca becomes because originally they were worshiping Avoda Zara. He says, yes, that was the original generations. But later they stopped doing it, they're not worshiping Avoda Zara, they believe only in one God, and they just have the minig of Yisem B'Yadem to continue doing these minhagim, but they not really have the intention to do Avoda Zara. Maybe Adrabah, their intention is to throw it for the Satan. They have other reasons why they do it, but they're not worshiping Avoda Zara. And the Rambam says a very strong sentence. All of them, Taf v'Noshim, Nichvesa Avoda Zara mipiyim. They don't now worship Avoda Zara. V'ta'utzom, and their mistake, v'tipshusom, and their fullness, but dvarim acherimi. It's other things that they make mistakes. I can't write about it because of the different Poishi Yisrael that may come and be malshin and say what I wrote. They don't make a mistake in Yichud Hashem. This is a wide discussion in Rishonim. The Tashbetz, Chelik Beis, Siman Memches, he also has a tshuva about that. And he quotes the Geonim that the Ishmaelim, the Muslims, love Oiv de Avoda Zara. But in Sefer HaEshkoil, he brings the Shittis, he brings the name of one of the Goyans, that the Ishmaelim were considered to be Oiv de Avoda Zara. And he says that the Gemara says there's 5 Bote Avoda Zara, and one of them is an Arvio, it means by the Arabs. And so brings the Meiri in Ardaf. After he brings the Shittos, the Ishmaelim are not Oiv de Avoda Zara, he says, Mikol Mokom Chachmei Sfarad Choilkim Bo. They disagree, and he brings also the Raya of the Sefer HaEshkoil, that one of the Avoda Zaras or Gisho Shebeharvia, and therefore they are Oiv de Avoda Zara. And so the Ran in Masechet Sanhedrin of Samech Aleph Amud Beis, he concludes there a discussion. He says, Even though they know that their prophet is not God, because they bow down to them. The way they bow down to Avoda Zara, din Avoda Zara yesh lahem lechol davar, has din Avoda Zara, v'hisu shel Avoda Zara. So it comes out that there's three opinions in the Rishonim. The Taisus in the Sugya learns that the Oivdei Avoda Zara today are not considered to be Oivdei Avoda Zara at all, because they don't know what they're doing, even the Christians. The Rambam learns that there's a difference between the Christians and the Muslims. The Muslims are not Oivdei Avoda Zara, and the Christians are Oivdei Avoda Zara. And some of the Rishonim hold that even the Muslims are considered to be Oivdei Avoda Zara. Fascinating Inyan, Sheshli Ayin Boy Oid. Anyone who wants to join the Shomachshava email list, who wants to group, please email shomachshava@gmail.com.